In today's world, there are many ways to connect to other people and the environment around us. These connections can be made directly with others in our families and with our communities and services. They can occur through technology, the media, music, and other art forms. Connections can be made at school and in the workplace. There are the connections that occur through partnerships and programs like the federal government's Tackling Indigenous Smoking and Healthy Lifestyle initiative. But it's not just about connecting with people. We all need to connect to our place and our environment. All of these connections are essential to our health and well-being, especially when it comes to the journey of saying goodbye to the smokes and hello to a healthy lifestyle. So let's get connected.
My name's Summer Finley. I am a Yorta Yorta woman, but I grew up on Lake Macquarie near Newcastle. I work at the AHMRC, which is the Aboriginal Health and Medical Research Council of New South Wales. We are the peak Aboriginal health body.
Smoke. Smoke. Not sure.
We're driving into Inverell at the moment. We're coming to Inverell because we worked with Inverell as part of the Kick the Habit program. It was a social marketing campaign which the AHMRC, the Aboriginal Health and Medical Research Council of New South Wales, and 3 of our members, Aboriginal Community Controlled Health Services, ran. So Kick the Habit was a smoking cessation social marketing campaign.
My motto that I live by is dare to be different, and in saying that you can apply that in so many different ways. Like, for example, my mates were all smokers as well, and I chose to go along with it because that was the cool thing to do. And I really think back now and think I wish I had have been different and just not followed the sheep. And I didn't have the strength in myself to say no because I was worried about what they would think, or too busy worrying about what other people would think if I wasn't included in that group. So therefore I did whatever that group did, or whatever them people that I wanted to be associated with, whatever they did, I did. So yeah, one thing that I've really stuck to is dare to be different, because I've made that many stupid mistakes from trying to follow other people and trying to be someone else, or trying to fit into a certain crowd, where if I had have just did what I wanted for me, in the end of the day, I probably wouldn't have ended up in a lot of the situations I did end up in.
The social marketing campaign was really much there was 3 campaigns, and each of the campaigns was quite different. Each of the services had a different take on what they wanted to do, the communities were different, and their target audience was different.
Whoa, hold up there. Well, I can understand how that might look cool, but trust me, it's as fun as writing lines at school. I've been there before. I fought off addiction. What used to be cool is now known as fiction. Tobacco companies are corrupt and evil. They get us all addicted and they suffocate our people. It's tougher to say no than it is to have a smoke. But even the toughest people eventually choke.
We had 3 target audiences. One was youth, which was the Armigans one. We had a parents and children's one, and we also had an elders one. So something for everybody, really.
My grandmother, for example, has very close friends that she'd grown up with around this area, and seeing her being so upset because they passed away from different things. But one thing that I think stood out the most for her, and I guess she related it to me as well, being a smoker at the time. One of her friends had never smoked a cigarette in her life, but had lived with a smoker. Her husband had been a smoker for as long as they'd been together, and she actually got lung cancer from the passive smoke.
And Derek, you've got kids. You should set an example. The future is a garden that should never be trampled.
I guess you're right. That kind of makes sense. What's life like on that side of the fence?
Well, I'll be honest with you, bruz. It ain't a smooth stream, but the strength that it's taken is fueling my dream. So now's the time to make the decision. You can either stay in prison or embark on your mission.
That's one of the hardest things to do, finding that strength within yourself to say no. It's huge because you're just so worried about what other people think of you when you really forget what you think of yourself, I guess. Yeah.
It was really a unique experience because it was good for me, upskilling around social marketing, but it was also an experience for the communities in themselves because they've never been involved in social marketing, and so they really got to learn a lot, and I got to learn a lot as well, which was always fantastic.
I know from what's been happening with our program, we've been getting calls from Medicare locals asking us, what we do, who we are, can you help out this person, how can you help them out? So I think once the different teams that have been funded by the Tackling Tobacco Initiative, once they're getting known in their communities, they're certainly being accessed by mainstream GPs. Obviously, if a particular Aboriginal Community Controlled Health Service has been funded to host one of these teams, then that kind of link between the GP medical service and some of the community programs is already there. So, I think overall that message of who to access and where to access and even how to access is getting out there. It's taken a little while. There's been pretty major restructures in the health sector, both at the state level and at the national level over the last couple of years. So I think it's taken a little bit of time for that dust to settle, and then people have started developing those kind of relationships. I guess what would be useful is if those relationships could be ongoing for another 10 to 15 to 20 years to make sure that we're able to ingrain that kind of line of care for individuals and families within communities. So I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens after the middle of next year.
Speaking as a general practitioner and having worked, for 20 years in general practice, it takes a while for primary healthcare services to get to know about a resource and community and get to know how to use it, what sort of services it can provide people, what sort of feedback you'll get from it, and if things change too often, the sort of progress can go backwards. Someone described it as disreorganisation, I think, of the health sector. But there is a tendency to reorganise every few years. But that's, I think, not how things work in the primary care space. You need to build relationships over time and people to that become part of their everyday practice to make use of those. And I think the Medicare locals are going to be a big part of this in terms of being a link between what's out there in the community and the primary healthcare sector, and trying to build awareness and build ease of pathways through the system, so that people can know what's there and know how to use it, and know what sort of things would actually be available.
You see, it doesn't matter how far we travel away from our home will always be our home. This is where our heart is. Okay.
My name is Bob Peggy, of Torres Strait, originally from Murray Island. I come from a big family, the Peggy family. My tribe is a Comet tribe. Back at home there, we got 8 tribes, different tribes and different clans.
We come out to play for our island, our sweet paradise.
I speak 2 or 3 languages. English is my 3rd language. I speak Creole, and my traditional language is Merriam, which it is spoken back in Murray Island. I love art, doing artwork, craft work as well, and music. Yeah, it's my passion. I love to do music, and I write songs, my own songs, and I sing, and I also record it. I work for Queensland Health Promotion, raising the awareness of the danger of smoking. We travel all the islands and different communities around Torres Strait, and just to bring that message out there, just to educate our people about the danger of smoking. And smoking is really it's like suicide, in a slow motion. The thing I found in quitting cigarette was the education, the presentation that was done to me, was given to me. It's how you it's the chemicals and all the stuff that is in the tobacco itself, the cigarette that they make, and yeah, that sort of put a placed a big fear in my heart, and then to realize that all these chemicals, all that stuff that I'm putting into my body, so all the toxins that are in there, I'm inhaling that into my body, and then of course the major death in the whole world, I guess, is cancer, and they are created caused by a cigarette.
You see, it doesn't matter how far we travel away from our home will always be our home.
This one here full of toxins. When the lung's full of toxins, it's not spongy anymore, it's like this. Okay, that's emphysema lung. Okay, and this is a healthy lung. Okay. There's over 4,000 chemicals in a cigarette, and it's dangerous. I also talk about passive smoking is dangerous for children as well. I tell them when their parents smoke or anyone in the family smoke, they should go away from them. Don't hang around where they can breathe in their smoke. Yeah. And I explain why passive smoke is dangerous for children, because it causes middle ear infection in the children, and I explain why. The eustachian tube from the nose to the ear is straight in children, and in adults it's sort of slanty. So, when they have colds, they have to blow their nose. So when the smoke gets in there, it irritates the eustachian tube.
Yeah, so this is the dungeon. I call it the dungeon. This is where I do all my recordings. As you can see, all the instruments. I got all my instruments and all the photos up on the wall. I got a photo of Bob Marley, Bob Marley's photos and flags, and Muhammad Ali. I use it as an inspiration. This inspiration, drives me to do all my recordings and the messages that they give. When I grew up, as a kid, growing up, listen to all your older brothers and your uncles and that they play. Bob Marley was the I first listened to Bob Marley when I was about 4, 3, 4, growing up, and yeah, Bob Marley was the the top.
We are the boys from the east side. We come out to play for our island, our sweet paradise, representing all our people. Together we'll fight out these battles. We go fight or we not fright. I will never throw away my dignity, 'cause
Music, I guess, like I said, grew up and listened to music. I find music, is another way of getting your message across to people. Your message, out there to people. Some people you can't, they can sit there and listen to stories and that, and you tell them how your lifestyle is and our lifestyle story and that. But most of the all the messages I find that comes through music, and different country music, reggae music, hip hop. It's a message behind it, eh? It's a message behind it. Speaks to people, And so if you have a closer listen to it, it's a message. So yeah, that's what I find about music. So, and the way I brought up, and I guess life, my lifestyle, my way of life, as I grew up, I know the differences and the stuff that I got within my community and my people. So it's my way to get my message across by singing. And yeah, there's some music that goes just for the fun times and that. You mob hang around together and then you just listen to it. And most of my music, there's a message behind it. And if you ever listen, closer listen to it, you hear the message. You get the message.
Inside our lungs, we got small air pocket there, alveoli. We need alveoli in our lungs to do gas exchange. Okay. When you smoke all the time, smokers, the tar in the lung, tar will break the alveoli. Open it up, it will come big hole, and then people end up with emphysema. Okay. Oh, the children, they're very good. They're very good listeners, and they understand, and they're very receptive. And I always tell them that they're very smart, even though I use some big words like emphysema. People smoke all the time, have emphysema, and we island people call it short wind. I explain what emphysema is and the effects of emphysema. I give them the rubber lungs to carry, so they get the feel of it and get them involved. Battery acid in cigarette, lighter fluid in cigarette, formaldehyde, they preserve dead body, rat poison, okay, spray, insect spray, glue. So when you become big, you gonna smoke or no? Why is that? Why is smoking bad?
That's all the feedback I get from some of the communities when they say, brother, you come here and you say all this and that. It's really enlightens our mind. It makes us understand what's the presentation that you put up there and explain all the different chemicals and stuff that are in the cigarette, and it's affecting our body, our organs, and it's killing a person slowly, and yeah, the feedback they gave us was unreal. It was just like the message was out there. It was out there before, but not like what we're doing now, like bringing in the presentation and make them realize, to see how it affects the body and that, and all the organs and that, and then sort of brings fear to them. And yeah, some people, we refer them to Quitline, and they bring Quitline, and then yeah, they got people on the other side of the line, guide them through giving up smoking cigarette.
You see, it doesn't matter how far we travel away from our home will always be our home. This is where our heart is.
We work together as a big team, so we go out into the communities and we work alongside our mob, our Aboriginal people, that we want to sort of like not tell them what to do, but just guide them, and when they're ready, they come to us. So we're here for them. Rewrite Your Story is, we wanted to make a visual out there that will connect to our mob, to our people, that we want something to have a powerful connection that they're going to grasp and sort of like, oh my God, that's what and that's what my pop, and that was my nana, that's what's really happening, or to my mum and dad. So we want something, Rewrite Your Story, to go back there, out there in the community that will connect to our mob.
Rewrite Your Story is a campaign which utilises various modes of social marketing. So it's about sort of getting out that don't smoke message, but in a way where it involves storytelling within the communities, where they're learning from one another's experiences and how smoking's affected them, and then hopefully inspiring their other loved ones and community members to rewrite their own story for a better future for their community.
We used to run around to the shop as little kids and buy them for my mother and my sisters. I'd ask them if I could light it for them. Family members would smoke while breastfeeding their bubs and all that sort of stuff, so, everybody smoked. In my 20s, I started becoming a bit of a social smoker. That progressed to the cigarette before bed at night. And I think it was the year that my mum died, I actually took up smoking.
Look, I didn't know what to expect, but to be honest, it was very, very painful and quite confronting. Talking about, I suppose, my journey and the reasons why I decided I wanted to give up smoking. Once I got over that, and I guess being an ambassador and being involved with the program certainly helped me to deal with those feelings. It's been really positive, and I'm certainly glad now that I did become involved.
The last 12 plus months have been pretty tough. I've lost 3 brothers, all of them to cancer or cancer related causes.
Here we go here. Picture's right here. My friends and cousins were all smoking, and one day they just offered me one, and kind of just led on to having a cigarette every time I kind of bumped into them, and slowly started getting a bit heavier and heavier, and mainly smoking when I would go out. And besides that, I wasn't really a heavy smoker until I started getting a bit older. Yeah, because of all the promotional gears getting around in Adelaide, so a lot of people was walking up and saying, "Oh, I've seen your poster and the coasters here and there." So they're talking to me about all the posters and stuff they're seeing around and asking questions, and I'm telling them about the Tackling Tobacco program, and then they're even asking me about how do they go about quitting cigarettes. So yeah, it's a good thing.
Uncle Alex died first of lung cancer, and Uncle Billy from a heart attack. They died in different ways, but the same thing killed them. The smokes.
We had that many hits, people coming back, and not only here in South Australia, but right across Australia, and it's been fantastic. And I never thought the amount of hits that we had that be worthwhile. But all we're worried about is getting the message out there and trying to get our mob to give up smoking, and that's the strongest thing we can ever do. Is get that message out. Please don't smoke. Give up. Look after your life and live longer.
Nunkawunyunti is a very well-known centre here that's community controlled, and so there's those great networks and relationships already built. So for the tobacco action workers to go out with this marketing material and the great stories we have from our ambassadors made it even more effective because they were talking to people on the ground and they knew that they knew what they were talking about.
I'm Daniel. These are my boys, and they're the reason I'm rewriting my story.